My head's spinning. I can only walk a few meters without getting totally out of breath. There is no other place like this on the planet. This is the roof of the world, Tibet. And I've come here to try and solve the mystery of one of the most extreme, incredible journeys of them all.
All animal migrations are tough, but surely none can be as tough as this one.
We might be in trouble.
Oh, look! There, four! Four geese, that's fantastic!
One unique group of birds seem to defy the laws of nature. Bar-headed geese undertake a journey so tough, it should kill them all. By attempting the same journey myself, I hope to find out just why they do it and how on earth they manage to pull through.
I think they're laughing at us.
This is the starting point for my mission, the forbidden city of Lhasa in Tibet. Not that many years ago, I could have been shot on sight for just being here. No foreigners were allowed in this exotic, isolated mountain citadel. Lhasa is one of the highest cities on Earth. At 12,000 feet, you can get altitude sickness just going shopping around here. So where exactly are we? Lhasa is the capital of Tibet, and it's buried in the heart of the Himalayas, surrounded by some of the world's highest mountains. It's home for part of the year to the extraordinary bar-headed geese. In summer they live on extreme high-altitude lakes in Tibet. Then, when the winter comes, they fly south to Nepal. And this is where we first caught up with them 10 months ago. Bar-headed geese are unique. Their migration takes them higher than any other bird on the planet. Where they fly, no other animal dares go. To try and understand more about these exceptional animals, a team of American and Indian scientists have set up an ambitious project to follow the birds on their annual migration. The plan is to catch the birds at the most southerly end of their migration in Nepal. The team used the skills of the local shikari hunters to set a trap for the barheads. This traditional system holds them by the legs but won't hurt them in any way. Two strong, healthy geese are carefully selected and fitted with high-tech satellite transmitters. These are extremely lightweight tracking devices and won't impede the bird's movement, but they will allow us and the scientists to follow their every move. Our birds are named after the mountaineers who first climbed Mount Everest. So the first goose is called Tenzing. Another tracker is attached to the second goose, called Hillary. The power units on the trackers should last for the next 10 months, time enough to record their entire round trip all the way to Tibet and back.
Good to go.
1, 2, 3.
Immediately the satellite trackers start to transmit the bird's position, telling us exactly where they are. A few weeks later, in mid-March, their journey begins. Hillary and Tenzing turned north and flew towards Tibet. Would the tracker survive the extreme altitude and cold? For that matter, would Hillary and Tenzing? In fact, the data we got was awesome. We were treated to an hour-by-hour signal as they flew right over the top of the Himalayas. Hillary and Tenzing flew up to 6,000 meters. That's nearly 20,000 feet, and hit speeds of over 50 miles an hour. Both of our birds then landed on the extreme high altitude lakes and settled down for the summer. So what's it like in the goose's world? How do they survive at these extreme altitudes? And why do they undertake such a death-defying journey? To answer these questions, I'm going to try and join them in their summer home in Tibet, and then make the return journey with them back across the Himalayas. I'm getting my gear sorted.
Screws.
If it all goes according to plan, we're going to end up nearly 20,000 feet up a mountain for an in-flight rendezvous with Hillary and Tenzing. Up where we're going to be climbing, there's a real danger of getting altitude sickness. Fluid leaks into your lungs, or even worse, leaks into your brain. It's potentially fatal.
Oh yes, it collapsed.
Somehow the geese can handle the problems of high altitude, but it's totally different for us humans. I can't just go to where the birds are right away.
Because if I did, I'd almost certainly die. I've got to give my body a chance to adapt to this extreme altitude, and that takes time.
So, to begin with, I have to stay in Lhasa to start to acclimatise. Lhasa actually means home of the gods. This place is the focus for pilgrims from all over Tibet. People will spend literally all day prostrating themselves in front of the temple here. The flagstones are polished smooth by centuries of pilgrims.
Well, it's time to say goodbye to Lhasa. We've had 3 days here and we're all feeling quite good now, so the altitude is having less of an effect, so it's time to go higher. And every time we feel good, we just keep adding another 1,000 feet a day. So from now on, it's going to be a little less luxurious, our accommodation. We're going to be camping, so we need to buy food. Sorry. Look. Say hello.
Oh.
I'm going to definitely miss. I'm going to miss this place. What we're doing here now at the moment is just stocking up on provisions, and this is a vegetarian's dream, as you can imagine, and hoping that by the time we reach the birds, which is still going to be a few days' time, that they'll still be there. Thankfully, they haven't moved at the moment, but they could go at any moment. So, time to push on, I suppose.
Well, we're on our way. Wherever we are, the team of scientists will regularly update us via a satellite phone to tell us exactly where the geese are. From the latest update, we know Hillary is pretty much out of range for us just now. So we've decided to try and meet up with Tenzing. But the lake he's on is well over 15,000 feet high, and it's the other side of a very high pass. But why is Tenzing up here? Well, high-altitude lakes make for a perfect nesting site. Bar-headed geese are able to survive predators to get to, so this is a great place for the... If we can get up to Tenzing, we will probably find a big goose nesting site. We may even find Tenzing is a proud father and has his own little family up here. If we can get there. To help avoid altitude sickness, we shouldn't climb more than 300 meters per day. The problem is finding somewhere to stay overnight, which is at the right height.
We've decided to come down to, well, there are several words I can use for it. None of them broadcastal. So we're just trying to find some accommodation somewhere. It's the organisation side of things isn't panning out to be just as we'd like. But after tonight, we're going to be camping, so we'll be in charge of our own destinies. We'll be cold, but we'll be in charge of our own destinies. How are you describing this accommodation?
It's completely squalid. You'd catch something, 4 people to a room, blankets covered in stains, filth all over the floor. I really don't think we can stay here, but where can we stay?
I'm mad keen, it sounds perfect.
So, after a good night's sleep, it's time for a bit of breakfast in the local greasy spoon.
Cheers.
The local roadside butcher has just slaughtered himself a couple of yaks. And everyone's come round to check out the best cuts. All nice and fresh and steaming. Just what you want to see on a full stomach. But we don't mind the look of this. The thing we're most worried about is the weather. It's sunny enough in the village, but winter is just around the corner, and there are ominous clouds over the surrounding mountains. These snow clouds look pretty thick, and if we get too much snow, it will make crossing the high pass to Tenzing very difficult, even impossible.
We're just filling up the cars because this is going to be the last sort of town that we're going to be in for a while, because we're going to head up to the pass, which is over 5,000 metres. So we're talking probably 16,000, 17,000 feet. We don't know how we're going to be able to cope with that, but on the other side of that pass is the lake that Tenzing, our male bird, is sat and has been for a while. So it's snowing now. That's going to be a problem, I think. Well, we've decided to have a crack at the pass, even though that everybody else has turned round. We have got a big truck with all our gear in it, and that's going to try and break through the trail for us and try and bash through the snow. We don't know whether we're going to be able to make it to the other side, but Tenzing is on the other side, waiting at a lake for us. This weather might mean that he decides to head south, so this might be our only shot. We'll see how it goes. It's looking all right at the moment.
Although we're desperate not to miss Tenzing, we have to be very careful. This is no place for taking risks. If we get into trouble, we're on our own.
No, not possible. No. Okay.
He's getting out.
He doesn't think it's possible.
You don't know?
I don't know what he thinks. They're going up.
We should go on.
We should go on?
I think.
Okay.
This is nothing so far.
Uh-huh.
We're about between 4,000 and 5,000 meters, and our guide is running up the hill. Needless to say, I'm ambling. Running is beyond me at the moment. If I try to run up here, I would pass out, I think.
Fall down also.
Slightly concerned. We'll find out what's going on. Oh, it's the snowplow. That's why the roads aren't clear, because the snowplow is stuck off the road. It's fallen down a ravine. That does not bode well. I think we should possibly think about a retreat. I'm not looking forward to the trip down. We might be in trouble.
It's odd to think I can hardly walk up here without getting exhausted. But the geese are warming up for a 1,000-mile flight over the highest barrier on Earth. They're fueled up, they're super fit, and they're ready to go. We need to get up to the lake as fast as possible.
This pass is rapidly turning into our nemesis. And now the truck is stuck.
Stuck, and he can't get up there. He really can't. The tyres are very bald.
Yeah?
So no, he has to reverse back down.
Okay.
And we'll camp, and we'll wait till tomorrow morning and hope this freezes solid, and then we can get over the pass. Hopefully.
Sounds like a plan.
We've no choice but to camp beside the road, and the temperature is starting to plummet.
That was a good night in the tent. It could have been a lot colder. Outside it was -8, but inside the tent it was measured at -2, so shows what a little bit of insulation will do for you. The best stuff, the absolute best stuff in the cold, is what's inside this jacket. And I hate to say it, but it is Goose down. So my apologies to Hillary and Tenzing, but it is amazingly warm for the thickness. It's only a matter of a centimetre thick, or even thinner than that, and it's absolute toast.
And of course that's the secret of how the geese survive the extreme cold up here. They've got their own superb down jackets to keep them warm.
No. We can hear geese. We can't see them, but we can hear them. But it's clearing. We might get a glimpse of them. That's great. Maybe Tenzing is actually making his way over the pass as we struggled and decided to stop. It's much easier to fly.
This is promising. There are definitely geese nearby, and the weather's cleared, but the temperature's still falling. The increasing cold could make the lake freeze over. Then there'll be no food for Tenzing, and that will trigger his journey back south where it's warmer. We know from the latest data he's still on the lake this morning, but he could go at any time. The pressure's on. But our plan's working. The roads froze hard in the night, and we've got grip.
She's not gonna move. Now you don't see them getting stuck. That's proper all-wheel drive, isn't it?
What are they doing up here? This is an avalanche that we're driving through. I don't know who's cut the path, but it's just come down from this slope here. There's quite a lot of snow come down. You can see it's a couple of meters thick here. I can't believe this. This is crazy. If that could go now, we could have avalanches coming down off the road right on top of us. It's pretty extreme stuff.
Thankfully, our drivers are very brave men and very competent drivers, and they've decided to push on through, and we're getting close to the top of the pass now, so who knows what we're going to see.
It looks like we're going to make it.
Absolutely stunning. We've done it. We got to the top of the pass. The cars have come as far as they can come. What we hoped to do is to get down there and see the shore, but there's no way we can risk travelling down this steep pass the far side and not being able to get back up again, back to where our truck is with all our supplies.
But that's what we came to see. There it is. That's Tenzing's lake, where he's been all summer. But this is as close as we're going to get.
But needless to say, this is one hell of a refuge for him. And all the other geese. It's high. It's away from many, many predators. I'm so happy. What an experience. What a place. Oh, look! There, 4! There we have. We've definitely got geese.
Yeah, more them over the snow.
4 geese.
It's down high up there. Can you see them? There are 4 of them in a clump there.
4 geese, that's fantastic. We're at 5,200 metres. And they're battling into a headwind. At least a couple of hundred feet. 200-300, maybe more feet above us. This is maybe why Tenzing hasn't left. They can fly at 50 miles an hour, but this headwind must be making life so difficult for them. They're hardly making any progress. No, they're turning back. They're turning back. Maybe this is why they haven't left. God. And we thought life was tough for us. But flying into a headwind at this altitude, at this temperature, well, just talking about it's knackering for me.
Being up here has really brought home what the geese are up against. It's not just the altitude. Up here in the mountains, there's some really extreme weather. They may have to contend with winds of 100 miles an hour or more. If they go for it and they hit the wrong winds, they could be blown backwards, trapped on a mountaintop, or knocked clean out of the sky. The timing has to be perfect. Tenzing has moved. Whilst we were struggling back down the mountain to camp, it looks like his journey has actually begun. The conditions are getting so harsh, the geese have started to head south. But he's stopped again. So, we're off after him. I want to actually follow him right over the Himalayas if I possibly can. But this still involves pit stops as we go. We've got to keep up with our acclimatisation.
I know we keep banging on about acclimatisation and getting acclimatised, and I feel I should explain a little bit about what that's about. Because, you know, our geese are superbly designed to actually live up at this altitude, and we're not. But human bodies and mammal bodies in general have an amazing capacity to adapt given the time. We've only been here now a week or a bit longer than that, and we're still in the first early stages. The body is saying, hang on, there's not much oxygen here, let's concentrate the blood. Now, to make red blood cells, that takes about 2 weeks before that really starts to kick in and we start to get more red blood cells to carry the oxygen. But what I'm at the stage at the moment, just in this first week, is actually just peeing a lot. And that doesn't sound like a very clever thing for the body to do, but what that's doing is actually removing the fluid part of the blood and therefore upping the cells part, the red blood cells that carry the oxygen. So just by reducing the fluid in the blood, you're already sort of increasing the percentage of red blood cells. So that's why I have to keep taking a leak.
We're on our way to Shigatse, Tibet's second biggest city, and right on our path as we try to follow Tenzing's route. And I'm bound to say, it's going to be very pleasant to stop camping for a night. It is odd to look out over what looks like a normal town, but realise this is all actually 3 times higher than Britain's highest mountain. So far, we've been concentrating on Tenzing because he's the only one we could hope to get anywhere near. But in Shigatse, there's been some news.
We had been hearing from Hillary right up till yesterday, and then suddenly nothing. Now this could be down to 3 possible reasons. Her transmitter could have failed completely, which is pretty unlikely. Bad weather could be affecting the reception. But there's a third, much more exciting possibility. You see, when she's in the air, when she's actually flying, the transmitter won't work very well at all. Now this could mean that both our geese, Tenzing and Hillary, are actually on the move. We're coming to the hardest part of our mission for the geese and us. Next stop, base camp.
Actually, not Everest Base Camp. We're heading for a different mountain. But along our route, there's an unmistakable landmark.
That there is the biggest mountain in the world. Yep, that is Everest. And it's quite an interesting thought that this range that our bar-headed geese have to fly over is still quite a young range. It's not particularly old and it's still growing. And the important thing about that is that it might hold some clue as to why bar-headed geese actually fly over this range rather than round it like a lot of the other birds. It's an interesting theory.
Around 70 million years ago, India crashed into Asia, and as a result of this epic collision, the Himalayas rose up. But this all happened in a number of stages, bit by bit, and it's just possible the ancestors of bar-headed geese were already making this trip well before the mountains became so exceptionally high. As the Himalayas continued to rise, the geese just raised their game with them and flew higher and higher until they moved up into a different zone. Where we are now, there is just half the amount of oxygen that there is at sea level. It makes doing anything physical desperately hard work.
You've got to remember we're at 17,000 feet here, so there's not a great deal of oxygen. That's why you've got to take it in turns to do the digging. And I'm at the back of the queue. That's it. You just start to feel slightly dizzy now. I've been going about 2 minutes. And yet all I'm doing is just lightly tossing this snow. And it's knackering.
This mountain is Shisha Pangma, an 8,000 metre peak. The data shows that both Hillary and Tenzing actually crossed just to one side on their northward journey up to Tibet. If our calculations are right, it's most likely they will fly back south this way, using the same route. If we can get up high enough to the Goose flyby zone, we might just be there when they go by, but we've still got another 1,000 metres to go. This will be the toughest part of the journey for us and Hillary and Tenzing. No other bird on Earth regularly flies this high. Where they go, there is less than 1/3 the amount of oxygen that there is at sea level, and it can be -50 degrees. The geese can fly up to 50 miles an hour, but add on a possible tailwind of up to 100 miles an hour, and they can slingshot over the roof of the world in a matter of hours. This whole migration can be over in a single day. But then again, the conditions have to be perfect, and they can change at the drop of a hat.
It got to, I think, -19, I think, last night. I just want to get up, do that final push, get up over these mountains and down the other side and down into lower altitude, and just where I'm going to feel so much better. And I suppose, well, I don't know, maybe the geese feel that way as well. The ones that have done it before, the kiddies of this season might just not know what's going to hit them at all, but the adults will certainly know. And maybe that's why they're delaying, because they feel as crap as I do.
My problem is I just can't get enough oxygen out of the air up here. My body is real. There's now no way we are physically capable of carrying our gear ourselves. And it's the end of the road for the vehicles, so it's over to yak power. Like geese, yaks are highly specialised to live up at these heights. I wish I could say the same for me, because despite our careful calculations, I'm starting to worry altitude sickness may have got me in its grip.
I'm feeling grim. I get migraines quite commonly, and I've had a migraine now for about 3 days. Now, the problem with that is there's another thing that happens at altitude, which is your brain swells. You get what they call cerebral edema, and if that's what I've got, and it's not a migraine, then that can be very, very serious. So I think the option to take really is to get to lower altitude as soon as possible, because I can't go on feeling like this.
Despite desperately wanting to carry on and being tantalisingly close to our goal, it's clear to everyone that this is the end of the line for me.
The problem is I can't tell whether it is a migraine or not, you see, and that's...
Can't take any chances at all.
It's just been going on too long now.
Yes. Well, obviously things haven't turned out the way that we hoped, but Steve has been getting worse and worse over the past 3 days and just can't take any chances. Which is a shame, because today was going to be our big push. We were going to try and get as high as we possibly could, maybe even up to Goose flyby level. And we had everything we needed. We got the yaks, we got fantastic weather, and we spent 14 days acclimatizing, trying to get our bodies ready to get up there. But it seems our bodies just can't take it. Altitude sickness is a potential killer, when the only sure way to reduce the symptoms is to get down to lower altitude just as fast as possible. We've failed.
It's only when you stop feeling bad that you realise just how bad you did feel. And now I'm down at much lower altitude. The nausea's gone, the headache's gone, I'm warm again. But I miss being up there. It was such a strange and stunning place. It might be the last time I get to that sort of altitude, and there really is no other place on Earth like it, really. You just look around and see all these peaks and you just want to go to the top of them, and I can understand why people do that now. And I can understand why people die up there as well, just refusing to accept that they shouldn't be there.
Next stop, Nepal. Hang one over there. Thank you.
you. Thank you very, very much. Oh, here we go. It's tied as well.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye bye. Bye.
It's so strange. This whole trip has been about the hardship of getting out of Tibet and getting over those mountains and dealing with the altitude, that I haven't spared a thought at all for Nepal or where we're going or where the geese are going. And now it's happening, and I have no idea what to expect. I've never been there before, but I'm really looking forward to it.
We're heading for Nepal because that's where the geese were tagged in the first place, and that's where they'll finish their journey, if and when they cross the mountains. But it's starting to get just a bit late. As I'm crossing the border, Hilary and Tenzing are still in Tibet, up on the high altitude lakes. The geese are massing together in groups close to the mountains, waiting. But waiting for what? The geese know by the change in day length that it's time to go. Perhaps they're waiting for exactly the right weather. Right now they seem to be stuffing their faces, getting as much fuel on board as they possibly can. This one flight will burn a huge amount of energy. And talking about energy, we may have a problem. The power supplies on the satellite transmitters Hilary and Tenzing are carrying are only supposed to last 10 months, and that time is more or less up. All I can do now is try and get ahead of them and wait for them at their final destination in Nepal.
Hello. Well, they're still behind those mountains. It seems that Hilary and Tenzing haven't found the motivation to fly all the way over here yet. And standing here, we can only guess why that isn't so. It could be the extreme cold on the other side. It could be that they're waiting for the right winds. Or it could be something a lot more sinister. You see, they might not come over here at all. Flying over the Himalayas isn't the only problem they have to face.
On top of bad weather and transmitter problems, there's now something else to worry about. Something that's been making headline news.
China has become the latest Asian country to confirm an outbreak of bird flu. Today, China confirmed 2 new outbreaks of the virus.
Earlier this year, the flu virus killed 6,000 wild geese and ducks in China's Qinghai Lake. That's worrying because it's a staging post for migratory birds.
Millions of years of evolution have prepared Hilary and Tenzing for flying over the highest mountains in the world, but nothing could possibly have prepared them for the bird flu. It looks like thousands of geese have already died, and if our birds are on lakes with infected birds, this journey could come to an abrupt halt. But we have to remain hopeful. We know from the latest data the geese are still moving around on the other side. So I'm rushing towards Royal Chitwan National Park, the very same place Hilary and Tenzing were tagged nearly a year ago, to wait for them to arrive. It's amazing their tiny little transmitters are still kicking out signal, but worryingly it looks like Hilary's battery is starting to fade. Royal Chitwan is an amazing place, absolutely teeming with spectacular wildlife. It's famous for its wild Indian rhinoceros, and it's famous for its tigers. But what's the attraction for bar-headed geese? Well, during the winter, this place is fantastically lush. There's just no comparison with the high-altitude lakes in Tibet. There's tons of food for hungry geese. So you might think this would be paradise for Hilary and Tenzing. Well, not really. Royal Chitwan has a dark side. Dan Badur has worked here all his life.
So this is obviously quite an excellent place for birds to live, but quite dangerous as well, I suppose.
Yeah, it is, yes. You have to be very careful when you walk through the bushes. See, anything could happen here. This is a very good area for the tigers.
Okay.
And the rhino, okay?
Right.
Same leg. Look at the tiger. Tracks.
Thanks. Is that male or
A
female?
female.
Beautiful, great big, lovely track.
So come this way, from this grassland here.
So probably going to look for some deer possibly in there.
Probably can help.
And you've never had an accident yourself with them? You've managed to get away, obviously.
Yeah, nearly many times, but not yet.
Yes, oh my God. Right, I'll stick with you then.
Okay. I didn't want to lose you here.
Yes, good. I don't want you to lose me here either.
Okay, so we go a little bit
Yes.
outside and check
Yeah.
whatever there.
That'd be great.
See the tall grass?
Yes, yeah.
It could be there somewhere.
That's the ideal sort of hiding place then, is it?
Yeah, that's a good place for the tigers. And we also here it's quite good because we have here safe area.
So you always keep an eye out for trees there?
Yeah, keep an eye on tree and just
So we'll call that one Steve's tree.
Steve tree, okay.
Okay. Which one's Dan's tree? Oh, that one. Okay, good.
Steve, are you coming?
Yes, yeah, I'm still here.
This is a really dangerous place.
I wish he wouldn't keep saying that. Now, I understand this obviously is a dangerous place to walk around on foot for a human. What's it like for our geese? Is it pretty dangerous for them?
Very dangerous for them too, because we have lots of predators like jackals, the jungle cat, bird of prey. There's so many things
Yeah.
for them too. Yeah.
So they're going to have to really keep their eyes and ears open as well.
They have to be very careful too, yes.
Yeah.
So, although Royal Chitwan is lush and beautiful, this is actually a very dangerous place for the birds to come to at the end of their migration. There are so many potential predators out to get them. If the geese didn't get driven away because of the extreme cold in winter, they would probably be much better off staying in Tibet all the year round, never migrating at all. But they have no choice. I know how they do it, and now I know why they do it. There's just one final question. Are they going to do it? Right now I'm getting concerned we may never find out, because the transmitter's batteries are due to fail any time now. The 10 months is very nearly up, and once they switch off, it's game over. In any normal year, the geese would have arrived here long before now. But this year they are late, getting on very late. We're scouring the park day in, day out. There's not a sign of a single goose. There are actually only around 18,000 pairs of bar-headed geese left in the world. They are very nearly an endangered species. And because there are so few, the fact that they haven't managed to cross the mountains yet is concerning.
They're late. They're very late. Which is disappointing for our film, but it's actually even more worrying just for them because it isn't a big population. I hope they're okay.
I'm having to get my head around the idea that I'll never find out what happened to Hilary and Tenzing. And I have to say, after all I've been through to try and follow their story, it's a hard thought to swallow. But just when we thought it was all over, we're back in business.
Just before the transmitters stopped working, and I do mean just before, it was only a matter of a few days, Hilary and Tenzing made their move. They crossed the Himalayas. But true to form, they're still not following the script. They didn't stop in Nepal. They headed on and on, all the way to here, India.
We know exactly where they landed. But now the transmitters have switched off and stopped transmitting forever. So what then are we going to do? I've come too far and suffered too much. I'm simply not prepared to give up now. But I have to say, it's beginning to feel like mission impossible. There's just one more final possibility. When battery power fails, people power has to take over. This is a really rural part of India. People are out working in the fields from dawn to dusk. Is it possible someone has seen Hilary or Tenzing?
कैसे इलाके में थे ऐसे पानी के तट पे?
हाँ ऐसा ही झील बहा है।
हाँ
उसी झील
और उससे उड़ के जा रहे थे कि बैठे थे? बैठे थे। They were sitting around the area of the river, where he spends a lot of time. He saw them flying by at sort of eye level. When I spoke to him on that day, that's what he said.
So, did he understand it was a bar-headed goose, or does he not really have an interest in birds?
Well, I showed him the birds, and he said, oh yeah, there were 3 or 4. One of them had a red band around its neck. And that pretty much identifies the bird, because now I've shown him the bird in the bird book.
Yeah.
And it is the same bird.
That hardly seems possible. In the vastness of India, we have an eyewitness who's actually seen Hilary. Could Hilary still be here? And where exactly did she finally choose to end her migration? I'm using a handheld GPS to find the exact spot Hilary made her final transmission.
Well, this is the place. This is where, before her transmitter turned off, the last fix we got for Hilary was here. Well, it was within a stone throw of this very position. And not only that, we got an eyewitness account. Someone has actually clapped eyes on that red collar of hers. So we can say for definite she made it.
Did definitely make extraordinary geese are still writing their own stories.